if you're just joining us, we have a panel of people that work in the local community and have been advocating for years to help Mary Jane Veloso. This is an issue that is very relevant in our community. It's very uncomfortable to talk about it. The fact that a lot of Filipinos have to leave the Philippines and search for better opportunities, but we all have that in common, and I think that it's time that we talk about it and the effects that happen to the family, to the individual. So, Deaconess Jeanne, let's talk about Mary Jane Veloso, and in your opinion, her life being saved. This is not coincidence, is it?
Absolutely not. It really is, for me, it demonstrates the power of people raising their voices, joining their hearts, their souls, and their spirits, calling out not just the injustice, but calling on their faith to lift up prayer, to lift up concern, to speak for justice. It's that persistence in pursuing the beloved community that all people are valuable, no matter who they are, no matter what their language is, no matter where they come from. Mary Jane is my sister, my daughter, my friend. She's one of all of our human family. And when we look at it in those constructs, and people hear that story and see themselves or their family, then they are able to do justice through the community, through the global community. Rather than expecting politics or something to save them, we bring our voices of peace and hope and love together. And by resounding prayer that comforted her, and her faith that led her and had her face her death with an understanding that God was there. That's the element that rose up and touched hearts that weren't hearing, weren't listening, and helped to exact justice for Mary Jane.
It seems like a miracle. Everybody was executed except her.
Right.
I mean, if you don't call that a miracle, I don't know what it is. And obviously, yes, you know, a lot of people rallied for her. A lot of people, you know, brought this issue to light. But for something like that to happen, it makes you really, I mean, how can you doubt God in the face of all of this? Diba nga? It's unbelievable, Nikole.
Right. And I think on top of that too, what is inspiring also is the fact that the Filipino people did not stop fighting for her. Even though, you know, the Philippine government and the Department of Foreign Affairs had said, you know what, there's nothing else we can do. Migrante International, her lawyers from the National Union of People's Lawyers, and thousands of Filipinos around the world kept praying. They kept, you know, hosting actions. They kept, you know, raising their voices in a powerful way, despite all odds. And I think that's something really to applaud, is that despite all of those factors, they kept fighting, and I think we really prevailed. And I think that shows that the Filipino community, when we unite, so much more is possible. And I think that's why we continue to do the work that we do. And this is only a temporary delay, right? The struggle will continue. She still needs our support. Her family still needs to hear our voices. And I think we, again, need to hold the Philippine government and President Aquino 100% accountable for this delay in justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. And so we really feel that there's more that can be done, and we're not going to rely on President Aquino to actually carry that out. We're going to rely on ourselves, the people, to really deliver that justice.
Okay, so what can we do as Kababayans here? What can we do to help Mary Jane and thousands of people like her?
Yeah, I think right off the bat, joining organizations here locally like Migrante, Southern California, particularly if you're a recent migrant or overseas worker, there are organizations like Migrante that are supporting these kind of campaigns. We also have, of course, NAFCON, the National Alliance of Filipino Concerns, that is always advocating for immigrant rights issues, whether it's legalization or making sure that our kababayan are protected. And then, of course, with BAYAN USA, we see these as long-term problems. Trafficking stems from the poverty that still exists in the Philippines, and so we need to continue advocating for national industries to be built in our country so that jobs are created. We need to be advocating for genuine land reform so that people have land to work and to grow their own food and to be able to support the economy in a really self-sustaining way, in which we don't have to rely on big corporations to support us, but we can really rely on the people power, just as we relied on people power to prevail in this case of Mary Jane.
Right, okay. Alex, you being involved in this, what have you seen in your experience throughout this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really a time of growth. It's a time of a change. I mean, for me, I was born and raised here in the United States, but my family is from the Philippines. My dad was also a domestic worker who came here as an overseas worker in the 60s, and he also faced discrimination and hardship.
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, I do this not only for myself, but I do it for my dad. I do it for all of the other Filipino migrants and overseas worker, and especially for Mary Jane and her family. I think we all do this for her. And I just, you know, this has just been a time of really understanding for me what it means to be Filipino, and what it means is to stand up for our Filipino community and for our Kababayan, just like Mary Jane Veloso.
Very well said. We'll be right back here on Kababayan Today.